Welcome to the Great American Collectibles Show, seen Wednesdays on the Sports Collectors Daily Facebook page and the Great American Collectibles Facebook page. You can also listen to us on iHeartRadio, Pandora, and Spotify. The Great American Collectibles Show is brought to you by the National Sports Collectors Convention and Sports Collectors Daily. Tonight's headlines are brought to you by Sports Collectors Daily. For all of your hobby news, features, and more, go to sportscollectorsdaily.com. And now your hosts, Tom Zappala and Boston sports personality, John Mallory.
What's up?
You got a tan?
I'm tan.
You're tanned? You got a shirt on that says got rings?
Got rings. Celtics.
Yeah, you look
My
good.
first show since they won it.
Yeah, you look good.
So I feel good. I feel great.
You got a tan going. You got to look.
I was up at the beach for a week. Had great weather. Never went in late June before. I like it. There's fewer people up there.
Were you with your squeeze?
Come on, really? I mean, is that appropriate?
Just asking a question.
Yeah, part of the time.
You were.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are we hearing like seriousness here? Possibly.
Right now we're keeping it humorous. But yeah.
Okay.
No, it's good. It's been very good. Everything's going great.
Welcome to the Great American
Dr. Zappala, should I you want to do a Rorschach test?
We're good.
Anything?
We're good.
I know, like off air, not a question. On air, let's dive deep
No,
into
it's all
your
good.
personal
I mean,
life.
she hasn't met you yet, so we'll see what happens after that.
By the way, we have.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
You keep
You're
saying,
away
I
now.
know.
You're up in the wherever, Biddeford, Wind, whatever Maine you're in, whatever.
Well, we also
we're on. Did you hear him describing it before? We're on a rock with
Let me
a
tell you
lake
something.
and an.
Let me tell you
Is there a lake and an ocean? Do you have both lakes?
We're on the bay.
Oh, a bay.
But you look to your right, and the ocean is there.
Well, usually a bay. Yeah,
and then
will
you
lead to
look
an ocean.
behind you, and the pool is there.
Yeah. You know what you don't
Bay,
see? You know what you don't
ocean
see
pool.
anywhere up there? Me, because I wasn't invited.
You're right. Welcome to the Great American Collectibles Show. Tom Zappala, my good friend, Boston sports personality, writer, bon vivant,
Raconteur.
John Mallory.
Thanks, buddy.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you, man.
Yep.
You're looking good, too. You're looking spry.
You know, this goddamn back
Just don't
thing.
turn because I don't want to see your legs in those
Man,
shorts.
This back thing is still tough.
And it is what it is, man. I threw my back out picking up a bottle of water the other day.
You know, I may talk to you about the National. I may have to rush you down there for an overnighter.
I am away.
I guess that's out.
You can pipe me in remotely if that helps.
You're out.
but-
Okay, we have a good show today. We got our good pal. We're going to bring them both in at the same time. Our good friend Paul Borges from PB Collectibles is joining us from the beautiful Newport, Rhode Island. And our other guest, who, by the way, has... Bobby, you've never been on the show, have you, with us?
Introduce them before
Yeah, Bobby Eaton. You there, Bob?
Yeah.
Okay, Bobby Eaton, COO of RR Auctions. Now, Bobby Livingston has been on many times.
Right.
But Bobby Eaton has never been on, and I think I like Bobby Eaton better than Bobby Livingston.
I don't even think. I know I do.
All right?
Yeah.
I mean, Bobby Livingston, he gets a little crazy.
Yeah. No, this is going to be one of the greatest shows of all time. I can tell. Neither of our guests have even said anything yet. I know this is going to be great.
I love it.
Right? All right, listen, out of the gate, Paul, you may be able to add to this. I have a bitch. I have a bitch with John Henry. I like a real bitch with John Henry.
Okay.
I call it the Relish scam.
All right.
Do you know
I got to be honest. I don't know anything about
that
this.
you cannot get, if you buy a hot dog at Fenway Park,
Yeah.
no relish.
What do you mean?
Just what I said.
Not even packets?
None. Zero zip. Just mustard.
You're kidding me.
Are you freaking kidding
Well,
me?
that puts fans in quite a pickle.
You cannot. A couple.
Professional show
That was
business.
great.
Listen. I've investigated this, Paul, and people are sneaking in their own packets of relish.
It's beautiful.
I have to tell you, I had a Fenway Frank the other night. I just used mustard anyway, so I had never even thought twice about
That's
it.
sad, isn't that? And this is,
Are you freaking?
you know
That's
why?
bad.
Because ever since they,
I do like relish, but you're in and you see.
Nah,
get
you
the-
gotta listen to me. You gotta have relish when at a ball game. Mustard and relish.
Well,
on
they
a
used to
dog.
have it. There used to be a relish machine.
And you know, my son Tommy, he confirmed it because he was at the game on Saturday.
Yeah.
I said, make sure you get a dog. And he went to buy the dog, and he said to the guy behind the concession stand, "Can I have some relish?" And the guy looked at him and says, "We haven't had relish here for over a year."
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. So not to get off.
Horrible.
We have
Wait.
guests here, but I'm just going to say I have actually publicly and privately defended this Red Sox ownership because they brought 4 titles here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
But I'm with the pack now. It's time. They got to dump this team.
I mean,
It's time to dump this team.
That's blasphemous.
They got to put it on the market. They'll get $8 billion and get someone in here that cares.
Well, anyway.
The relish thing just put me over
I'm
the top.
asking all of our Boston.
That's it. I have a limit, Bobby and PB.
I'm asking our viewers in the Boston area and our viewers that are listening on the radio to contact them and say, what the hell is going on? No relish.
Unbelievable.
Right?
I'm angered by that.
I mean, that's almost like that's like wearing a pair of pants with no underwear.
More like maybe, yeah, you're right. Or maybe underwear with no pants.
Well, something like
Yeah.
that. All right, let's get to our 2 guests, Bobby and Paul.
You've done both. I've seen it. So
Thank you. Bobby, we're going to start with you. You're going to be at the National. This is really, you guys were there once before, I believe, right?
So this is actually, our second time.
Yeah.
This time we're going all out, right? So we're bringing about 7 staff members. We have a 20 by 20 booth.
Beautiful.
We're going to be in the corporate area, booth number 6003 for everybody.
Hold on. 60. Okay. Yep.
We're doing, Bobby's going to be doing appraisals. We're going to do auction evals. We're going to be doing, promotion of the upcoming sales, Olympics, Apple, Space, Kennedy, our rarity sale. So that we got a lot going on. We're going to bring about 50 pieces, key pieces.
awesome.
And we're going to be there the whole time. So if anybody wants to make an appointment, shoot me an email, bobby@rrauction.com, and we're gonna have some fun.
Now, listen, again, this is for our viewers and listeners. If you're going to be at the National, pay attention to what he just said relative to the non-sports items, because I think our auctions, when it comes to non-sports items, there's nobody bigger.
Zach, I was on the site. It's unbelievable.
It's mind-boggling.
It's unbelievable.
It's
the stuff that you
mind-boggling
guys have.
how you
Yeah.
get your hands on some of this stuff. I mean, the whole Stephen Jobs, Apple stuff, and then the astronauts, NASA stuff.
And the early American Revolutionary War.
I mean,
it's crazy.
So, if you're at home and you're going to be going to the National and you have a little piece of history somewhere in your house that you've always wondered what it's worth, bring it with you. Bring it with you to the National. Show Bobby Livingston or Bobby Eaton, and but they can give you an appraisal.
Yeah. Hey, Bobby, what was the thinking of going back this year? Why this year?
Well, I mean, we've been getting a lot of inquiries from our clients that go there, right?
Yeah.
So you would think it's only sports people, but the market is widening,
Yeah,
right?
it is.
So sports collectors they're seeing that cards are through the roof, right? They're trying to put their money into something else, right?
Yeah.
And so we have a lot of clients that have switched over from cards because the values are too high, and they're moving towards things that they think are undervalued. But this is what we do every day, right? So everything from Babe Ruth to Beethoven.
That's a great line. That's an
great.
awesome line. I love that, man. That's great.
We just sold 2 Beethoven manuscripts last auction.
Yeah.
And so I think we want to bring something. There's a couple people that go that bring non-sports cards, but I think this time we're going to really blow it out with some of I'm going to bring an Apple One computer, which I know nobody will have. We might bring an Enigma machine. And then some Olympic stuff. So in this upcoming auction that we have, that's going to end right during the National, I have 70 winners medals from Olympic Games.
Wow!
So pretty much one from every year from 1896 all the way up to today, and then torches. I have over 40 torches, which is pretty much every single Olympic torch you could own, except for probably 2 to 3 of the hardest ones to get.
Paul, by the way, jump in here, bro. This is a free-for-all today.
It's amazing. It's amazing to see the inventory that these auction you guys get, and the number of different auction houses. I'm always amazed at, because obviously that's the hard part, is finding the pieces. And the memorabilia and all of the different things. It's the hunt.
You both can comment on you too, Zap. I find I have a lot of friends that collect, and they all collect different things. I have a buddy who's a big-time sports collector, but he's also a huge comic book.
Yeah.
He started with comic book. I find that a lot of sports people, sports collectors, also have an interest, whether it's music, entertainment,
Absolutely.
History, whatever. Do you guys both of you guys find that even in just conversations with people?
Bobby?
Yeah, I mean it's interesting. I feel like you have your core collectors that collect one thing, and then a lot of them spread out over different genres. But if you think about it, it's really what they're passionate about, what they grew up with. Was it comic books and baseball cards, or was it books? So now they're into first edition books, and then with the Apple segment, a lot of those are people that love space. So it was an easy transition to jump from the space memorabilia to the Apple because it's all early technology.
Right.
Very cool. Very cool. Bobby, are you going to, you're going to be at the National Sports Collectors Convention, so I'm assuming that RR wants to expand their memorabilia portion of what they're doing. The cards, I know you're. There are some, but it's more of those memorabilia. Do you want to expand that category?
Yeah, I mean, we're always open. It's just finding that right collection to give us the jump off start. And that's the hard thing, right? Is there's so many sports auction houses, and getting a little piece of it would be nice. But I think for us, moving into the game worn stuff would really be good for us, because that's kind of the historical items that we deal with. So I would love to get into game bats, game jerseys, and that would be expanding our segment. It's just, if you have that collection and you want to call us, by all means, I'll help you out.
Now, again, this is an opportunity for a lot of viewers out there that especially up in the New England area, but anywhere. But if you're in New Hampshire, Massachusetts, and you're a collector and you have some memorabilia, I equate our auctions in the non-sports field with heritage. You know what I mean? In the sports field, they're next to maybe Sotheby's, you guys sell some really crazy good stuff. So it's an opportunity to expand into a category that can explode.
Yeah. You guys both are in the business of finding things, and I know you have things come to you as well. I'd like both of you guys to comment on it. We'll start with PB. But what's that like, PB? Is it more proactive with you going out and looking for things, or do you get a lot of people coming to you, with your high profile, having been in the business now for a while?
I think, it's funny. What I say, chase after it, not so much chase, but I set up at a lot of shows locally. I also go down to New York, to Philly, to Chantilly, and set up there. And you start just passing out your business cards. Yeah. And you'll be surprised at how, the phone starts to ring and you're starting to get calls, or you meet people out on the road. Just yesterday, a guy called me from the Philly show that I bought a bunch of stuff from just yesterday. Who I'm going to be going down to Philadelphia after the National. He has a substantial collection that I'm going to go see. So it's just by getting your name out there and seeing people, and the next thing they know you're interested. They know you're involved in sports cards, and the phone starts to ring and people call you.
Bobby, what do you think of that?
Yeah, I agree with Paul. It's all about from day one, right? My father taught me that it's all about relationships, right? So treating people right, paying good prices, getting good prices, and people will get the word out there for you. I do see that one way to capitalize is, if somebody's searching for something, you got to come up high, right? So the more stuff that we sell, the more we get out there. When somebody's searching on Google, they find us quickly. And then your best people, as Paul knows, right, come straight from referrals. you helped out this guy, he was in a bind, and then you sold his collection for X amount of money, or you paid him retail prices. You're not in there to screw somebody, right? You're there to give them market value, and people will come back, and it's just about how you treat people.
Paul,
I think it's.
Oh, go
I
ahead.
think
I'm
it's.
sorry.
I was just going to say, I think it's really like a baseball game. Not every time's a grand slam. It's okay to hit singles.
Yeah.
Correct.
You can hit singles all the time, and you can hit 300. There's nothing wrong with that. I teach one of the classes I teach over at Salve. I mentioned this before, is sales, and the sales class is all about relationships, likability, and product knowledge. And if you have those things, it'll start to come together.
Hey,
Right.
Bobby, some amazing things have come through your auction house.
Yep.
What are the 2 or 3 top items that you guys have ever handled? In your opinion?
I mean, as you know, we sold those Bonnie and Clyde guns that were on them when they were killed.
That's right.
We had the Smith and Wesson that was taped to her thigh, and then we had his 911. And those sold for about $750,000. That was probably one of the coolest pieces
cool.
we had. But I'll tell you a quick story about those. We had them. I got my Bobby. The other Bobby said, "Hey, you got to get your FFL," and I said, "I don't even know what that means." And so I go to the police. What is it? Not the FBI. The
tobacco and firearms.
Yeah.
ATF.
And the ATF. So we go there, we get the FFL. The first gun I get in was her Smith and Wesson, and all the serial numbers are scratched off. So essentially, I have an illegal firearm as the first one. So I'm looking around. I'm like, how do I check this thing in?
That's
so
great.
I call the ATF, and what they're supposed to do is take it and destroy it. So I got this guy's $500,000 gun, and they're gonna destroy the gun.
Oh,
so we had to partner with the ATF and get them to not destroy it.
Wow.
And then that was the first gun that I handled.
That's amazing.
What's funny, Zap, is, and we more often than not live in the world of sports here.
Yeah.
But it's kind of funny because I was on the RR, website, and, it's great. I mean, it's great to have a Gehrig or a Ruth, and then, they can kind of, I got an Abe Lincoln. I got a Thomas Jefferson, Bobby, where do those items come? First of all, the age of them to still be in existence so that you can still see it and read it is amazing to me, because we're talking hundreds of years now. Talk about that a little bit. It's just incredible.
I mean, those documents, a lot of them are made out of vellum, right? So they're sturdy. I mean, you can't even rip them.
Yeah.
So most of them are folded, but a lot are in pristine condition to this day. The ones that we've come across a lot, right, is usually a family member that's getting, out of the Army or a land grant or something like that. The content of letters drives the value up, right? So if it's as president, we see those, but just it's history. But I always think about, are they devalued, right? You can get those, you can get a Jefferson, a Washington for under 10 grand. And you're talking about a sports card that was just cracked out of the pack last week is going for 150.
I know.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Tell me what's devalued.
Right.
Yeah. No, you're making a great point.
It's really true.
All right, we've got about a minute and a half left, Bobby. You're going to be at booth 6003 at the National. Folks, if you want to contact them, you can go rrauctions.com. Is that what it is?
Yep.
Go to
That's correct.
rrauctions.com. Bobby's email address is on there. Make an appointment. Make an appointment to meet him at the National. You're going to be there along with your cousin, right?
Yep.
Bobby Eaton or Bobby Livingston. Make an appointment, and if you have some really cool stuff,
Check out the website. It's some of the stuff, and even the sports stuff. It's high end. Some of the signed photos you got. It's Ali, Gretzky, Pelé, Federer,
I bought
Jordan.
something.
It's good stuff.
I won last year. I bid on. It's a nice little neat piece. It was the scorecard, the Harry Wright scorecard that was signed. It was a scorecard, 1885 or something.
Yeah.
and Harry Wright scored it and signed it.
A lot of cool stuff.
Cool piece. All right, Bobby, listen, we hope to see you at the National, and we got to get you on again.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I
I'll
would
stop
love
by
it.
and see you out in Cleveland, Bobby.
Paul, you're going to be there? Great.
I will be there. I'll stop
Look
by
him
and
up.
see. I will.
Good.
All
Thanks,
right.
Bobby.
Thanks, Bobby.
Bye, guys.
Bobby Eaton from our auction. They got some really
Great.
cool stuff, man.
Awesome. It's unbelievable.
I mean,
yeah.
they do. They do. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Paul is in the house with us. Paul, what kind of a hat is that? What does that say on top of it?
Well, come on, that's the old logo, the PB logo.
Oh, okay. No,
Oh,
it's
it's
because
just
it's white. It's light.
It's the summer edition. This is
the summer edition.
All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
Hi, everybody. I'm Rico Petrocelli from the Great American Collectibles Show, sitting next to my partner, Tom Zappala, who is doing nothing but aggravating me. Join us from July 24th to July 28th at the beautiful IX Center in Cleveland, Ohio, for the National Sports Collectors Convention. We are officially declaring that the month of July is It's Cool to Collect month.
How come I don't get to say anything in this commercial?
Well, because you never played in the majors and hit over 200 home runs.
Yeah, but I never went 0 for 32 either.
Yeah, ouch. See you at the National. By the way, remember, the month of July is It's Cool to Collect month.
Since 1996, Brian Drent and the staff at Denver's Mile High Card Company have led the charge in the collectibles hobby. Mile High is a full-service dealer specializing in buying and selling cards and offers a competitive consignment program for all collectors. Whether it be their computerized want list service, appraisals, or auction services, Mile High has it all. If you've been searching for a company with a selection of high-grade vintage 1888 to 1970 baseball cards and memorabilia that shares your passion, aim high, Mile High. Go to milehighcardco.com or call 303-840-2784 for more information.
For more than 30 years, Robert Edward Auctions has been the industry leader when it comes to helping you realize the most money for your baseball cards and sports memorabilia. In addition to their unparalleled reputation for honesty and integrity, they reach the largest number of bidders in the business and offer lower seller's fees, as well as generous cash advances up front on your valuable material. Contact them today at 908-226-9900. That's 908-226-9900 or at robertedwardauction.com.
Hi, this is Dan from Memory Lane Auctions, here to remind you that the renowned Memory Lane Collectibles Company has served as a beacon of light to the collecting community for the past several decades. Indeed, folks, it has been our utmost privilege and pleasure to provide the most enthusiastic collectors with an abundance of the finest sports cards and memorabilia for America's most coveted sports personalities via our world-class auctions. Whether you choose either a private sale transaction or the auction route, Memory Lane cordially invites you to reach out to us to maximize the value of your prized possessions. Also, it is not just sales that we pride ourselves on being the best of the rest, because if you are seeking a particular keepsake for your esteemed gathering, we will be relentless in our quest to find that special piece to fulfill your collecting dreams. So no time to wait. Reach out to us today for the purposes of capitalizing on our unparalleled marketing capabilities. Simply pick up the phone and dial 877-606-5263. That's 877-606-LANE, or find us on the World Wide Web at www.memorylaneinc.com. Now is the time for your valued consignment to ultimately become another one of Memory Lane's record-setting prices.
This is Brian Drent, president of Mile High Card Company. Is your sports card and memorabilia collection properly insured? For easily replaced personal property, homeowners insurance is all most people need. But for prized possessions that you may have spent a lifetime collecting, it doesn't go nearly far enough. Collectables Insurance Services has been insuring for over 50 years. They offer a full range of protection and a $0 deductible at an affordable rate with no appraisals required. I know because they insure my collection. If you have a minute, go to collectinsure.com and learn more about insuring your personal card or memorabilia collection.
How would you like to own the bat that was used by your favorite player when he hit that towering home run or game-winning base hit? Now look no further than JT Sports, specializing in the sale and authentication of professional game-used bats. As the official authenticators of professional model game used bats for PSA DNA, JT Sports will guarantee the authenticity of any bat purchased from them. JT Sports also buys and sells game-worn uniforms, gloves, and baseball equipment. The unique quality of the collectible is what JT Sports is all about. Give them a call at 609-487-8003 or check them out at GameUseBats.com.
You know something? Your hand is getting slower and slower.
No, it's not. Is that you like to talk to me more and more during commercial breaks right before we come back.
That's a good point. All right.
I got to do it inside. PB actually just texted me because he's a professional and didn't want to say it on the show.
Oh, he's a real professional.
But I'm not, so I will say. He said, when did you get the shirt? This is actually, I got this after the 08 championship.
So you're chinsed out. You're a cheap bastard.
I haven't quite picked the one I want yet for 2024. I'm waiting for him to come down. I'm waiting him to go under $20.
I'm going to get some swag.
No, actually, I don't want to do a commercial, but a big sporting goods chain that rhymes with Kicks has shirts for $20.
Have you been in the Kicks in Boston, Paul?
No, I haven't gone to that one yet. No.
It's supposed to be amazing.
Yeah. House of Sport or something like that.
Yeah, it's called the House of Sports.
Yeah.
It's got a restaurant in there. It's got a little of everything.
But they have cheap shirts.
It is time for a GAX, Blast from the Past, brought to us each week by our good friend right there.
There he is.
Paul Borges. And PB Collectibles, your neighborhood card shop. Go to pbcollectibles.com to find that special card or a piece of memorabilia. Now, Paul, as you know, you're not going to be able to see the video right now, but you'll see it tomorrow night when it is, but you'll hear the audio. And this is in honor of, we lost another one this week.
I know.
We're losing him every week.
Hall of Famer.
This week we lost the Baby Bull.
Yeah.
And that was Orlando Cepeda, who, by the way, Paul, you know he played for the Sox 1 year. He couldn't walk.
I just looked up we were just talking, I looked up his stats because I was a little before my baseball interest kicked in. He was 35. You said he was bad legs.
He couldn't run.
20 homers. Like 86 ribbies, hit 289.
What year was that?
1973.
So he played with Rico.
Played 142. Yeah, he played with Rico.
Yeah. He played with Rico. Couldn't walk.
Well, they had a lot of guys with bad legs.
Oh, man. No, really.
No, but back then, that was the first. He was the Red Sox first DH. That was the first year of the DH. And back then, that's what DHs were all these dudes that couldn't walk anymore.
On their last legs. On their last legs.
Right.
Absolutely. That happened to Don Baylor.
Don Baylor made a career on being a DH.
Right.
Well, so did Ortiz when you think about it. So.
All right, so this is a little video tribute to the Baby Bull, Orlando Cepeda.
Orlando Cepeda played and starred for 17 years in the major leagues. He played for the Cardinals in only 3 of those seasons, but what seasons they were. Orlando played most of his career on bad knees. In 1965, San Francisco manager Herman Franks put Orlando in the outfield. And diving for a ball, he injured his knee again. He begged to play first base. Franks said no. So in May of 1966, they traded him. Fortunately, Cepeda was traded to the Cardinals for pitcher Ray Sadecki. He injected life, enthusiasm, and fun into the team, and of course played first base. They called him the Baby Bull because his father in Puerto Rico was called the Bull. They also called him Cha-Cha. He brought his stereo equipment to the clubhouse and filled the place with salsa music. He was the clubhouse comedian and music director. The name of the team was unofficially changed to the Albertos. When Orlando, what he could also do was hit. He was an impact player, hit .325, hammered 25 homers, drove in 111, and helped the Cardinals, considered to be one of the best teams in baseball history that year, beat Boston in the World Series. Orlando was unanimously named the National League's most valuable player, the first unanimous choice in league history. With Cepeda at first base, the Cardinals were in the World Series again in 1968. He had 2 home runs in that series, but the Cardinals lost to Detroit. Orlando's stay in St. Louis ended in early 1969 when he was traded. He traded to Atlanta for Joe Torre. But his 3 seasons wearing the Cardinal uniform were a joy for Cardinal fans. Orlando still works for the San Francisco Giants as a Goodwill Ambassador, and in 1999 was elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, New York. And tonight we remember Cha-Cha and delighted to have him back and induct him into the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame.
Yeah, just a great player.
he took him 25 years to get into the Hall of Fame.
I didn't realize
he retired in '74. 1999, he went in the Hall of Fame.
I did not realize
he moved around. He played on a few teams, but everywhere he went, he hit.
Yeah, he was a
like
great
he
hitter.
could just hit. The dude could just
I don't
hit.
know if you guys, Paul, I know you guys are both a lot younger than me, and I don't know if you guys remember the '67 World Series. I know you don't.
I do not.
No. Paul, how old were you? You were like a squirt, right?
4.
Yeah. Well, I was a sophomore in high school.
I was 2.
And that World Series was just, it was unbelievable. As a matter of fact, I was at Austin Prep, as you know.
Yeah.
And then a couple of were afternoon games. And at lunchtime, classes would stop, and the whole school would be in the cafeteria, and they'd have 4 or 5 portable TVs.
I remember that even when I'll be 59 in September, and I missed the game. I was thinking that during the NBA Finals, where there was always a Sunday game at 12:30 or 1 o'clock. Dick Stockton and Tommy Heinsohn call. That's a lost. On a whole generation of kids is big games, like big playoff games, World Series games in the afternoon.
Absolutely,
it's
right.
gone.
Now, especially on the East Coast, I mean, they start a game at 8:30.
Yeah,
you got to watch 3 or 4 innings.
Cepeda in 1961 hit 46 homers, drove in 142 runs.
Yeah, I believe that.
Unbelievable.
I'll tell you, that '67 team. Think about this: Orlando Cepeda, Curt Flood, Tim McCarver, Lou Brock, Julian Javier. Not Ken Griffey, because he was on the '75 team. There was 1 or 2 others.
They had a good team.
They were unbelievable.
The Cardinals were good.
The weakness on that team was their pitching, I remember.
But I mean, if not for Gibson, but that's like saying,
Bob Gibson. That's what I'm saying. Bob Gibson was just unstoppable.
He was dominant. They couldn't beat Gibson.
He was unstoppable.
Yaz got a couple hits off him, though.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Rico went. Rico.
I think Rico told me this.
Rico, I think, in the World Series, he faced Gibson twice, and I think he flied out once and struck out 6 or 7 times.
Listen, if you hit Gibson, that's a feather in your cap, right?
I can remember seeing Bob Gibson at a few shows late in his life. He still looked menacing to me.
That was the thing.
Well, yeah, that was part of the stigma, because Rico has told me that guys, he didn't care.
No,
he would have no qualms in beating you.
And like they said, stories of ex-teammates that went to other teams, he had no love lost for them.
Yeah.
He would hit them. Yeah.
I saw Orlando Cepeda, I want to say 6 months ago at his show.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
I want to say, I could be wrong. But the last time we saw him, he was really failing.
Yeah.
Felt really bad.
Well, he had a major heart attack 10 or 11 years ago.
Yeah.
And then survived that.
Yeah.
Another guy that's not doing well is Rod Carew.
So oh, yeah, I know.
He's not doing well.
I think Cepeda is one of those guys that got lost. The reason I took so long, I think, for him to get in the Hall of Fame, he's one of those guys that got lost in the shuffle with the ballooning stats with the steroid boys, in the 90s.
Good point.
You know what I mean? And I think finally people said, hey, I don't know if it was the Veterans Committee or what, but he's a Hall of Famer.
So let me ask you this question. We're talking about Orlando Cepeda. I want your thoughts, both of you, on Giancarlo Stanton. What are your thoughts on Stanton as an overall ball player, hitter, all of that?
I mean, he's destructive, but he's never healthy.
Right?
He's just never healthy. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think the kid, when he's healthy, he's huge. He hits. He's got a great swing.
Doesn't hit for average.
But no, he doesn't. No, he's a bomb hitter. He's a home run hitter. I don't think he ever. I honestly don't think there's roids involved. I think he's just a naturally big dude.
Yeah.
But I don't. If you don't play, right? You can't. What's the old Bill Parcells? You can't make the club from the tub.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to play. You got to play.
Paul, what
right?
do you think?
I was out there for the Sox Yankees series for a game, and I'm not a big fan because
I'm not either.
Yeah.
Hurt. He's always hurt.
Always hurt.
If you want to equate it, he's kind of like Porzingis. I mean, hey, he could be a good player in it, but he's always hurt too.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys like that. I mean, we just lost Bill Walton. Unfortunately, Walton was like that his whole career. This kid for the Clippers, Kawhi Leonard. I mean,
same thing.
Everybody raves about this kid, but if you don't play, and I got to tell you, and I don't know the extent of injuries, but even as the Celtics were going through their run, the kid Halliburton for Indiana, dude, if you're not in a wheelchair, you got to play.
Absolutely.
Even if you can even like what Porzingis did in Game 5. He was not supposed to play in that game. He came in, gave him a few minutes, just the presence factor. Like, you got to play. I'm sorry.
I mean, Walton did that a lot.
You know what?
Go ahead.
It's funny you say that because I always say that. Like when you look on the sidelines and you see them in their sweatpants and they're just walking around. Like, you're kidding me. You couldn't put a couple minutes
like if you
in?
can walk, to me, you can jog up and down the court and play.
I mean, you know that. Listen to this one. A staggering statistic that I read about Bill Walton. He had 28 surgeries.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
Under the knife 28 times, and he always, listen, he could have been one of the greatest of all time, no doubt, but he always managed to make a contribution.
Well, that's the thing, and I hate to throw Walton in that group. I'm not saying Walton dogged it because he was dying to play.
Oh, God, yeah.
He just literally couldn't play. Like, you know,
I
what
think
I mean?
Porzingis too.
Oh, absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, there's some guys like Leonard I don't think cares. I don't think he cares.
Right.
You know, I really don't.
No, I don't
So,
disagree with you.
But it's one of those things with, you know, but Stan, you bring him up. I think, you know, his numbers would be outrageous if he could play.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Paul. I'm just going to say about the Celtics. So they just signed Tatum yesterday.
They did.
Signed, you know. So I was just looking. So 4 of their players next year, just 4, $198 million for the year.
Yeah.
And they've got their first 8 back.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that.
They re-signed White, and they're over there. But they're going to be paying the tax and everything. But
So now that Rick Grossbeck has putting them up for sale, do the new owners? I mean, they're going to have some debt, big debt. I mean, are they going to trade players?
Well, like I'm saying, that's what you don't know. That's why, like you're saying, it could be Palyuka, it could be some of the guys that are involved now, which would be great. But you know, it does leave an air of doubt.
Yep.
I mean, you know, we all know if it's not happening at the top, it trickles down to everything. So.
Hey,
while we're talking about basketball, I just want to ask you, what do you think of LeBron James' son being drafted?
That's something that's on my list here. I think that it was a PR move.
Yeah.
I mean, there were undrafted players that were much better than him, and it was a PR move. But I thought it was pretty surprising that LeBron is opting out.
But he's gonna restructure and resign.
Oh, is that what he's doing?
That's what he's gonna do. Yeah.
So, anyways, I think it's listen. He's got the clout. He's a great basketball player. I personally am not a big LeBron fan, but listen, I feel bad for that kid that averaged 17 a game, 8 rebounds, that played for Texas Tech.
Yeah.
That's a lot better than this kid. And
I mean,
you know,
here's how I look at it. It's a second-round NBA pick for a team that was okay. So it wasn't a high second. You know what I mean? After the first round, really after the first 10 or 15 in the NBA draft,
you're gone.
You're looking at hopefuls.
And it is
one thing you know about this kid.
It's a story.
He's probably the smartest rookie they have.
Yeah.
You know he's basketball smart. He comes from a great family. He can play.
Yeah.
He can play. His stats didn't back that up. I worry about his health with the heart issue and all that.
I know.
But for him, and given all of that, I'm glad the Lakers picked him.
Well, it's a
He'll be with his
historic,
dad.
and it's a historic pick.
Right.
It's never happened.
Right. It's kind of, I hate to say it's a throwaway pick, but it's kind of a throwaway pick.
Speaking of picks, a shout out to a friend of the show.
Yeah.
And congratulations to Jared McCain.
Yep.
Our good friend Kenny Clausen, his nephew Jared, who, by the way, was very, very helpful to us for our fundraiser, being drafted 16th.
Yeah.
And,
Sixers.
Philly, playing for the Philadelphia 76ers.
Yeah.
So we wish Jared the best, and I think he's going to have his bumps the first year or two, but he's going to be a stud. He can shoot.
He's tailor-made for the NBA today.
He can shoot.
Because used to be a kid comes out, always got to get bigger. The NBA is not like that anymore. You know, he's going to come in, he's going to step right in, and I think he's got that leader mentality, too. He's got a great head on his shoulders, so that's great. I'm sad that he's going to Philly.
Yeah, well,
because we're going to have to kind of root against him when he plays the Celtics. But other than that, hope he does well.
Paul, I want to ask you this question. I'm seeing on Facebook, you know, I belong to a lot of the hobby Facebook groups. Is it my imagination, or are there a lot more scammers out there trying to scam collectors with, you know, I mean, it seems as though, I'm always seeing posts from guys, or whatever, Tobacco Row or whatever, you know, hey, this guy's a scammer, and, you know, they give the reasons why. Are you seeing a lot of that?
Luckily, I haven't had any instance or have any. No one has bought from me or sold me anything that was a scammer. I'm very selective with that, but I have seen a lot of different issues. It seems a lot more of late than not.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. PB, you're on the road a lot. You're always going places to find items.
That's because his wife doesn't like it.
That's fine, whatever the reason. I mean, but we have look at all the stuff we see just behind you in this camera shot. Can you just give us some?
That's one of those green screens.
You think it's fake? You don't know. Can you tell us any new items in the store? Tell us what's going on at PB Collectibles. And I love it because you're one of the few guys still doing it with a retail, with the storefront, which is great. So just tell us any highlights lately.
It's been very good. Now we're into our busy season, summer season here. So just yesterday, counted, we had 6 different states come in to the shop just yesterday.
Yeah.
And that's really cool, So it's starting to get really busy. I'll tell you, you're talking about people calling with stuff. It's nonstop with people calling. Unfortunately, a lot of times it's the 80-20 rule. 80% is not very good.
Sure.
But we've got some really good things happening. I'm going to be coming out to the National. I'm going to have a near complete 1922 caramel set with me when I come out. So it's been good. It's stuff's out there. That's what's funny about it. And I think, Tom, I was mentioning to you just a couple of weeks ago, I've got a big autograph collection that's coming into the shop. So, it's been crazy.
Paul, we have about less than a minute left for this second segment. But do you have any plans on expanding at any point in time? Are you happy with where you're at?
I just don't have the time. And you know what? I don't want to say that I'm going this way, but like I'm 60 now. If I were in my 30s or 40, perhaps. But
it's like me. I'm on the 18th.
Yeah, but you're over 60, dude. You're
I'm approaching like the pub at the end of the 18th.
PB and I, we're in our older primes. You're like somewhere else.
Where the hell he is going, man?
And during every break, he tells me another ailment. Thankfully, nothing serious. But it's and I'm like, is this what I have to look forward to?
I just shake my head. I mean, it's like if it's not one thing, it's another. But
PB, we're in a lot of trouble, man. We got a lot of stuff coming.
Paul.
And by the way, he looks good. Like you're thin. You're in good shape.
I did tell him. I did tell him that for me, it's just car parts. Thank God.
Yeah, right.
Like, there's no internal organs.
Right.
It's a knee.
Right.
It's a back.
Yeah.
It's a hemorrhoid. Could be anything. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Paul Borges is in the house, and we'll see you on the last segment.
Hi, everybody. I'm Rico Petrocelli from the Great American Collectibles Show, sitting next to my partner, Tom Zappala, who is doing nothing but aggravating me. Join us from July 24th to July 28th at the beautiful IX Center in Cleveland, Ohio, for the National Sports Collectors Convention. We are officially declaring that the month of July is It's Cool to Collect Month.
How come I don't get to say anything in this commercial?
Well, because you never played in the majors and hit over 200 home runs.
Yeah, but I never went 0 for 32 either.
Yeah. Ouch. See you at the National. By the way, remember, the month of July is It's Cool to Collect Month.
Pristine Auction is a family-owned and operated online auction specializing in autographed memorabilia, sports cards, coins, art, and collectibles. Since their founding in 2010, they've grown to 2 facilities in Phoenix, Arizona, totaling over 60,000 square feet. Jared Cavalier and an incredible staff of over 150 team members serve a very large customer base and enjoy every minute of it. By working with leading authentication companies, Pristine ensures all items are 100% authentic. In addition, third-party authenticators regularly travel to Pristine Auction to provide authentication services on site. Pristine Auction strives to operate its business in a way that's honoring to God, their families, and their customers. With a strong focus on speed, quality, and premier customer service, their mission is to be the leading online auction for every level of collector and fan. Pristine also works for Hope Sports and Identity Hoops International, traveling to Mexico to build houses for the less fortunate. Pristine Auction offers several online auction formats with thousands of auctions ending each day. For more information, go to pristineauction.com. That's Pristine Auction, the best in the business.
If you're a discerning collector interested in owning the most important pieces in the hobby, look no further than Leland's Auctions. The original sports auction and appraisal house, Leland's was established in 1985 by legendary Pioneer founder Joshua Leland Evans. And today, President Mike Hefner carries on the tradition. From the Tom Brady card and memorabilia collection to the famed Boston Garden auction to high-end card auctions from every major sport, Leland's has always maintained the highest standards. Go to Lelands.com and get your bid in. That's Leland's, the hobby's leading sports auction house for 4 decades.
It's often been said that championships are won on the practice field, and world records come only to those willing to work harder than everybody else. Heritage Auctions is the world's largest collectibles auctioneer because we believe that becoming the best is only an invitation to the challenge of remaining the best. This requires the skills of the hobby's top experts, capable of identifying and maximizing value for our consigners. It requires the most visited website in the industry, courting a global audience of collectors over 1.5 million strong. It requires a dedicated press department that expands our global reach far beyond the entrenched hobby marketplace. It's hard work, but a simple premise. Present the finest collectibles to the largest population of potential buyers, and world records will come. We invite all listeners to put the unmatched power of Heritage Auctions to work for you. Auction evaluations are always free, and our commission-based fee structure ensures that our interests are always aligned. The highest possible price for your collectibles. There will always be new world records to chase, so let's chase them together. Visit our website at ha.com and request your no-obligation review today.
Hi, this is Dan from Memory Lane Auctions, here to remind you that the renowned Memory Lane Collectibles Company has served as a beacon of light to the collecting community for the past several decades. Indeed, folks, it has been our utmost privilege and pleasure to provide the most enthusiastic collectors with an abundance of the finest sports cards and memorabilia for America's most coveted sports personalities via our world-class auctions. Whether you choose either a private sale transaction or the auction route, Memory Lane cordially invites you to reach out to us to maximize the value of your prized possessions. Also, it is not just sales that we pride ourselves on being the best of the rest, because if you are seeking a particular keepsake for your esteemed gathering, we will be relentless in our quest to find that special piece to fulfill your collecting dreams. So no time to wait. Reach out to us today for the purposes of capitalizing on our unparalleled marketing capabilities. Simply pick up the phone and dial 877-606-5263. That's 877-606-LANE, or find us on the World Wide Web at www.memorylaneinc.com. Now is the time for your valued consignment to ultimately become another one of Memory Lane's record-setting prices.
Hey, I'm Mike Petroselli. If your company is looking for the best in marketing and promotional items, you'll hit a home run with Petroselli Marketing. With over 8,000 suppliers and 650,000 imprint-ready items, we can get your company the visibility it needs to get your maximum exposure. Whether it be office promotions, wearables, automotive, sports items, and everything in between, Petroselli Marketing can do it all. Our design staff will even work with you from concept to delivery and customize your products. At Petroselli Marketing Group, we will get your brand in front of your audience. Contact us at info@petrosellimkt.com or call us at 603-880-3202. That's Petroselli Marketing, where no dream is impossible.
So I asked the question, how does your company or organization do promotions? Imprinted products keeps your brand in front of your customers more than any other form of advertising. For the best on-time service and new ideas for your next project, give Petroselli Marketing Group a call at 603-880-3202 or email info@petrosellimkt.com. How about our friends at JRI Cars?
Yeah, I want to talk about our friend Charlie.
Well, listen, Zap. If you want to have an absolute blast at obtaining some great modern and vintage cards, you got to check out JRI Cards. Our paisan, Charlie, the Iron Ripper Perino, along with Money Marco, the Dollar Girls, and the JRI gang give you the chance to participate in opening a graded, unopened, and sealed fresh wax or cello pack of your favorite sport or non-sport favorite. It's easy. You buy in, Charlie opens the pack, and you get a packed fresh card. It's that simple. As a matter of fact, if you pull that special jewel, the guys at JRI Cards will even have it graded for you on the house. Featured in the LA Times, ESPN, and USA Radio, JRI is the hottest card-pulling show on the internet. Charlie and his staff make it fun, entertaining, and enjoyable with his collection of hats and sound effects. And don't forget, JRI donates a part of their proceeds to various charities. That's JRI Cards. Check out their exclusive breaks and events that everyone's talking about. They're always digging up cardboard treasures. For a great hobby experience, go to jricards.com.
Okay, we are chatting with our good friend Paul Borges from PB Collectibles. And
I had a question for both of you. And I don't know if you've seen anything, but Caitlin Clark, is she in the hobby anywhere, PB? Are you getting any questions about her? Is there any cards or memorabilia for her out there?
Lots of buzz on Caitlin Clark. There's a few cards out there of her. I don't have any presently. Single wax boxes and stuff like that. Yes, but she's definitely somebody that people are watching for. Mostly today on the modern side, it's Victor. You know, the kid for the Spurs.
Oh yeah, Wembanyama. Yeah, sure, right.
See, that's interesting.
Yeah.
He's going to be a stud. He's going to gain some weight, but he's a
It
player.
is interesting considering, the Spurs have a great history, but they're a bad team right now.
Yeah. Something else. I can tell you something else. I know everybody loves Luka. Everybody loves him. But I tell you what, man, that guy can't play defense worth a damn.
Listen,
he can't.
Think, it
great
happens
shooter,
sometimes.
Great offensive player.
And look, they have to get him some help. He might get a title at some point, but sometimes these players that you get a little exposed.
Yeah, but
when they're in the spotlight in the finals.
He reminds me of. And I think you guys will remember these guys. He's a great offensive player, no doubt. In my mind, though, he's no different than George Gervin, Bob McAdoo. Any one of those guys, right?
Hall of Famers, by the way. But you're right.
Great players. Yeah. They had 30 points a game, but they couldn't play defense.
Like I said, and again, it's not just, I'm not being a homer, obviously I'm wearing a Celtics shirt, but it happened to the Celtics when they were in the finals against the Warriors a couple years ago. You get exposed. Now, their exposure was they were too young. They weren't ready.
Right.
They crumbled under the pressure. Draymond Green got in their head and all that.
Yeah.
But, and I'm sure Doncic's, collectibles are great, and he's going to be a superstar. He is a superstar in the league, but you're right. No question about it.
People ask for Luka Doncic cards more than they ask for Jason Tatum cards.
It's interesting, isn't it?
I don't get it.
Crazy.
It's interesting.
I would take Jason Tatum any day of the year over Luka.
It's amazing, and I hope this changes now with Tatum and Brown. But it's amazing how underrated and underappreciated those kids are.
Let me tell you something else. Again, it could be my imagination, but he doesn't look as though he's in great shape either.
Well, no, they said it like he needs to get in the gym a little bit.
He's a little
doughy.
puffy.
He's doughy. Yeah.
Portly.
Which is fine for me. I'm not playing in the NBA. But
his collectibles his stuff is red hot.
Yeah.
People ask for it all the time.
Yeah.
Paul,
it's interesting.
What percentage of your inventory is vintage versus modern?
I'd say it's 60, 70, more 70 vintage, 30 modern.
We've talked about this a lot on the show, guys. Zap, you've been talking about this for a long time. I actually feel like there's a lot of people moving toward vintage. Whether I'm not saying vintage needs to be the 30s and 40s, even just older cards.
Yep, I agree.
Do you agree with that, PB? I'm feeling that now.
Absolutely. Even the younger kids are trying to trade their modern stuff.
Yeah.
Definitely, because they're seeing the change. And they're seeing some of this stuff that's taken such a big hit.
Yeah.
And they don't want to be part of it. So definitely a big change.
Something, Paul, you're making a good point. But, and you're making a good point. For a lot of these collectors, vintage is not T206 cards or 33 Gaudis. Vintage to them is 70s and 80s, right?
Right.
I think that's what a lot of it is, which is good. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, even 90s for some of the younger audience.
It's funny you say that. Somebody just came in yesterday and they said, I have some stuff. It's vintage. It's 40 years, it's, X number of 30 years old. It's 1991 Fleer baseball.
Yeah, right.
They'd have to pay me to take,
Yeah, right.
There's nothing, there's no value to it,
Yeah, I know. Hey, Paul, what do you think? Talk about splits in terms of what you're seeing out there, whether you're doing shows or in your store. Are people more interested in finding individual cards, or is it now all about sets? What are you seeing in terms of preference from the customers?
Much more individual cards.
Is that right, huh?
I sold a few sets this week, but for the most part, people are looking for they're looking for particular players and so forth. But a lot of people, they buy the wax and they're rip. And so wax is very, very popular and strong.
All right, listen, we got about 3.5 minutes left. Paul, you're going to be at the National. You do not have a booth, correct?
That is correct.
Yeah, and by the way, how can people get in touch with you? They should probably go to your website, email you, and if they want to set up an appointment, you can meet them somewhere, correct?
I'll even give you my cell phone if that's okay.
Yeah, and by the way, there's been some rumblings at the National where they've pulled some tables from dealers who had been subletting it. And, I had a chat with somebody who's very into it.
So the dealers bought tables and letting other people in on them?
Yeah.
Really?
Which was fine. But there have been dealers that have been renting tables for years and not showing up and subletting them to other dealers to make more money.
Wow.
So they've been charging them higher
than what they.
So, I think that's wrong, and I think
agree. That's wrong, too.
The National finally pulled the plug on that.
Yeah.
So if you get caught, you're out.
You're out.
You're out.
I got to tell you, I think it's rampant. We've talked about it before.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
When I look around at some of these guys that have been in the business for a few years and suddenly, they're year after year at the National last few years. I don't know.
You're right. I agree. Hey, one last thing I want to talk about is Jaron Duran. What's his name?
Jaron Duran.
Jaron Duran. Is he the real thing?
I like him.
I do too.
I think he's made strides this year.
Yeah. What do you think, Paul?
I think he's good.
I like him a lot. I think, he has made some strides. I've been up to a number of games this year already. I like the kid, definitely.
I think this Red Sox team is going to shock. Maybe not this year.
No, I mean, listen, I'm going to give you credit. Because at the start of the year, you said they're going to be better than you. You were like Dick Williams, we're going to win.
Well, all you got to do
hedged
is
a little bit.
Look at the.
You also said they were going to sign every big name pitcher in the offseason, which did not
I did
happen.
say that, but they don't need to.
But they're hanging in right now.
But they had it.
You don't know what I don't like about this Sox team? Their defense
is awful.
Defense is not good.
But you know something, Paul? I think that's going to come. I mean, listen, Devers is what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
Okay. To me, the kid that you should keep an eye on that's going to be a good defensive player is David Hamilton. Yeah. And I had no use for him at the beginning last year. This kid, it's all coming together for him. Yeah. He may be your shortstop. And then when Maya comes in, or Maya, you move him to second.
I think the question this year is going to be, what are they going to do? Is ownership going to do anything to reinforce and bring in some supplemental help for this team? They're just going to say, hey, this has been a fun team. Yeah. People are interested again. Let's just ride it out. I mean, my guess is they're not going to go out and sign.
We're going to find in the next week.
And by the way, do you want them to trade any of this young talent right now? I don't know.
I'll tell you what. Yeah. I'd love to see the kid from that played for them last year, Justin. What's his name? He's on the market.
Yeah.
For a trade.
Yeah.
He'd be great for the clubhouse.
Yep.
All right, Paul. We're about out of time. We love having you. You know what you mean to the show. You have been a great supporter of the show. I have to say, when he came in, when you were away or off or hurt, did a great job.
He was here with me. Probably the best show we ever
did.
The back and forth between the host and co-host was so good. It's the kind of show you try to have every week, but we just don't get there.
And Paul, we
did.
And we talk about this an awful lot. We talk about this all the time, Paul. There's a million dealers out there, and we feel that we were very, very, very lucky to meet you. You know what I mean? And we appreciate it because you represent everything in this hobby that's good. You got a small shop. You're committed to that little neighborhood store, And it's just great.
Knows his stuff, too.
Right. All right, with that being said, Paul, we'll see you down the road. And to our viewers and listeners, Johnny Boy, nice seeing you.
Good to see you, brother.
And to our viewers and listeners, we will see you next week. And happy collecting.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.